All right, so first, since we're being recorded, let me introduce myself. My name is David Thompson. I work for Function One. This is a special presentation of community charging solutions for Drupalcamp, Florida, 2017. My Drupal user ID is DBT102, and I use my DBT102 profile as kind of the repository for all of the information that I'm going to talk about today. So if you want to see presentations, all the past presentations, if you want a copy of my CV, if you want the brochures, I've got brochures that I'll set out here. They're all on my user profile. So let me just give a shout out to Drupal because I love the way Drupal does the profiles. So what we're talking today about is this, community charging solutions. And what I mean by that is that we have these car chargers. And this device right here, sorry guys that are trying to listen but can't see it, this device right here is actually simulates the electric vehicle. Like this is the receptacle, the plug in the receptacle, like plug in the wall for an electric vehicle. It would have a lid over it, right, just like your gas cap. And what we do is, for programming it, we push these buttons, and we cause, these buttons will elicit a response from the LEDs here. So, in order to make all this stuff happen, we're pressing buttons, and we're causing these electrical impulses to pass from one device, in this case the car, to the charger. With the charger, what we're doing is not only do we plug it into the car, right? We plug it into the car, something like this. But then, what we're doing, what's really special about this device, is that we're plugging it into the building automation system. All right, and this is just the type, sample demo of the types of devices that are installed everywhere in this building in order to get the signal from the end device, right, from the car, the buttons, or it could be the light switch. Right, this actually has an occupancy sensor in it. We can override the occupancy sensor by turning, pushing the button. So that's actually a pretty complicated device. Or we have thermostats. Right, this is actually a Distech controls. But we saw in the other rooms that they actually have train controls there. So the reason all of these things can communicate is because of this BACnet protocol. So that's kind of what we're talking about today, is this BACnet integration into Drupal. And that's what I kind of do as like the overall career thing that I do. So I had this module out there that's called Smart Service Systems. And it's based on a lot of research. And here's the sources of the research. 2 years ago, I did a lightning talk at Drupalcamp, Ohio, where it was called My 3 Favorite Bees. And what we were looking for is participants in a National Science Foundation research proposal. And the research proposal was called Smart Service Systems. So what that was all about is, in essence, this guy Vargo says, it is only when the customer makes use of the automobile in the context of his or her own life that it has value. So it's kind of abstracting stuff. But, what it does is Smart Service Systems kind of take this concept of, like using the automobile and adds a smartness to it. So what I mean by that is, we have telephones, right, we carry around in our pockets, and we tend to call this a smartphone. But the phone itself is not smart. right? This is just a computer, just like all of the other devices around here. But what it does is it makes us smart. It makes the people that use them smart. So that's, this whole field of research and business and everything is all about making the people smart. So what we're doing is we're taking that concept of, this imputed smartness, and we're applying it to buildings. So, it is only when the customer makes use of the building in the context of his or her own life that it has value. So the way that we're doing that in this specific application is, and the way to do it is first you have to select your equipment. Then you connect it to the building, you show it on the website, and then you expand the network. All right. So when we go down to selecting the equipment, I have this flow chart here. And every one of these things is what I would call a value proposition, meaning that it can be broken out and purchased. You can sell this service to do it. You can sell this device. So when we aggregate all of this together, that is a smart service system. And in this case, I call it a service bundle. So we're calling the community charging solution a service bundle, right? So what we're doing is when you select the equipment, you have to start with the charger, right? And this charger is one that is brand new, right? I just got it in the mail 2 days ago. I've been carrying a development version around in my trunk, in my car for about 3 months. Still have it there, but this is a lot prettier to look at. And what's special about it is it comes with a new energy management interface, right? In the past, this was just a dumb charger, right? And then you also have smart chargers. So we added smartness to it so that it could talk to the building automation system. And then using Drupal web services, we can read the data from the device onto the Drupal website. So it's easy to do. It's very easy to do. When we select the equipment and we connect it to the building, we already have the manufacturer making the device. You just need to make sure that it is capable of doing this stuff. And you can do all the research you want into the product, but I'm telling you, this is the only one. But pretty soon, everybody's going to be wanting to do it because it's a value. There's real value for the customer. There's real profit to be made by the implementers. So first, we select the equipment. We connect it to the building. Right. This particular building automation system in the box is Automated Logic, which is Carrier, which is United Technology Corporation. So it's an international, major top 10 company that is manufacturing the control system. And on the wall, with this tech, they're also international, Trains International. So we're dealing with companies that have international reputations. The Automated Logic product, I think they started that company in '82. Right? The Clipper Creek has been around for 20 years. So the interface device is what I have right here. And this is what we developed specifically for Drupal. So this has what's called the BACnet vendor ID number. And I talked about that in the lightning talk that we did yesterday. And you can go to the BACnet.org site and find that BACnet vendor ID number for Drupal, which is number 751. So what that does is it lets this equipment know that we're planning to talk to the Drupal website. So this is Drupal charging station at its core, right? So this is open protocol. BACnet is open protocol and open source. All right, so I'm going to start, flying through here. So just backing up a little bit, this is more than just, is the car plugged in or not? right? This is all about energy as a new vertical market for Drupal. And the reason we want to do this, the reason Drupal developers we want to do it, is because it improves the corporate image using web services. People can see your commitment to being proactive by hooking up these services. You know, we're saving the environment by offering you a charging station. It saves money by being energy efficient. When you show people the data, they act smarter and you save money. It adds value to the real estate. If you hook one of these charging stations up to your property, and then turn around and sell it, it adds to the value of the property, not just the installation costs. You know, this might cost $3,500 to put one of these in, but you know, depending on the quality of install, it could improve the property, the value 10 times that, just because, you know, so much of market value is determined by public perception, which is all about corporate image and how your stock is trading on the markets. So we started this story, this was a journey of mine that I started back in June of 2016. And the way we got into it was with Brevard College, and we had a discussion last night about the great town of Brevard, North Carolina. But Brevard College is a very small very small campus. It has less than 700 students. It's a small liberal arts college. But their big thing is experiential learning. And it's in the heart of this beautiful area, waterfalls all over the place. So their emphasis is on active learning experience. It was the first academic institution in the Southeast to commit to divesting its endowment from fossil fuels by 2018. And then the Sierra Club, the National Sierra Club, recognized the effort of Brevard College in 2015 with the Special Achievements Award. So a lot of these guys flew out to California and, you know, attended the banquet. And it's hard to see, but this is a really cool sign right here for the last administration saying system change, not climate change. But this is, again, hard to read, but you can look at it in the PowerPoint. So what we did is we put together a research proposal to the National Science Foundation to install charging stations at all of the Appalachian College Association schools. So there's like 35 of them. We went through and looked at all the websites. 6 of them were Drupal. So that served as kind of the basis of going into GovCon. So what we were able to do back then is to monitor the status of the charging station using existing control devices. We were putting control devices on this particular station. And that was this presentation we made in July at GovCon, is how to do this using, you know, traditional control devices. The day before the presentation, on Thursday, Obama came out and said that, had a press release and said that they were unlocking $4.5 billion just for electrical vehicle infrastructure. Right? And this is GovCon. So NIST was coming up to me, all these people were coming up to me saying, wow, can we really do this? More recently, like in the last month, they published, with the new administration, they published the new round of funding, brand new, nothing related to the Obama stuff. This is all coming out during the Trump administration. This new round of funding is a result of the Dieselgate. And I actually threw the numbers up here so you could see. So this is a charging allocation of this Dieselgate funds. So this is the amount of money that's going to each state just for charging infrastructure. So California is number 1, 57 million. Florida here is number 3 at 22 million. The top 10 states is 210 million. Going on, the next 20 states is 92 million. So total top 20 states there's $2 billion for 50 states, is $302 million. So there's real money out there to purchase and install this stuff, right? Well, by layering on the Drupal side of it, what we're able to tell people is that it is in use right now or it's not. So other companies can do it, but they're doing it in a very different way. It's like a very proprietary thing. So what's driving it all is this Tesla story. So you have Tesla making premium electric vehicles. They're also making solar roofs. They're also making these power pack systems that are batteries that hang on the wall. And Elon Musk, we all know who he is. We drive out and watch his spaceships go up. And we're talking about him at Drupalcamp essentially because he's a real advocate of free open source systems. So 2 years ago, going on 3 years ago, I guess, he made this statement on his blog that he says, "We believe that applying the open source philosophy to our patents will strengthen rather than diminish Tesla's position in this regard." So this device is an open protocol, open source way of connecting his devices into the public internet, right? So it follows right along with his philosophy. So the reason we want to tie it into the public internet, there's a lot of reasons, but for me it falls back on this case study that was done by Carnegie Mellon. So in the fall of 2014, Carnegie Mellon University performed a study for PNC Bank. And it was reported in Providence Journal, October 2014, if you want to read the whole thing. So what they did is PNC installed meters which measured the energy drawn by devices from an electrical outlet. We're talking about plugs on the wall for 80 Pittsburgh employee workstations. So the 80 employees were divided into 4 groups, and each of them received a different amount of information and control. So group 1 just knew they were being monitored. They got no information about their energy consumption. They were just in the groups, these study groups, and it was just conversation. They just knew that they were being monitored. They didn't see the data. Group 2 received some of the information through an energy dashboard, and it collected and displayed the plug load data in real time. Group 3 had access to the dashboard and could manually turn on and off the specific devices through the use of the switchboard. And Group 4 had access to the dashboard and could automate when specific devices turned on and off. So you can see the more information and control that these individuals were given, the more real savings that occurred. So what I'm targeting is the low-hanging fruit, which is just the 7%. But once we get to that point, the more and more we can get into it, the more and more savings that can be realized. So the low-hanging fruit is just this, how do you get the most number of people informed? And the way to do that is through a public website. So there's a lot of different types of solutions out there right now to do it. But nobody is doing it in a way that a lot of people can see it right now. There's a lot of sites that you can go to. University of Arizona has a big one. I think it's called energy.asu.edu. And it's a very proprietary thing, and if 3 or 4 people hit it at the same time, it just bogs down and starts throwing error messages. And it's all because it's Flash-based, right? So we just put in a big proposal to redo that one. That was a $410,000 proposal that we submitted on. They're never going to go for it because they don't know what they're doing. Well, maybe they will. Maybe they will. But the real solution, what we presented in the proposal, was not to have a separate system to look at it. I mean, they already have that. It's just a few people can access it. The real way to do it is to just tie that information into the site where everybody's going already. So this is an example of a really, really nice commercial product that you can buy, people buy and install this. It's very proprietary, it's very pretty, and it's the type of thing that would be installed on like a standalone kiosk. When you walk into the building, you have this great Leeds building, all of these special things going on, then you can show it off, right? You get Leeds credit for this, and if you're a LEED certified building, then it's a much more valuable building should the owner go to sell it. So there's these commercial products. This is an example of an energy dashboard that we did for the Greenville County School District using Drupal. Right, so in this case, for the Greenville County School District, they wanted this type of solution, so we gave it to them at a fraction of the cost. This solution was like $225,000. This solution, we had to do 5 different standalone kiosks, and we did it at about $5,000 per station. Right, so with this one, you have to buy the license and stuff, per station. It's all with the Drupal. We were able to create like one master file, and then go in and change the settings so that we can install on each one and it would look at the different files. So when we talk about interoperability, it's really important. When we talk about the Internet of Things, IoT, the message of interoperability is really mostly lost. Because what you have is like private apps that are accessing proprietary devices. And the same thing is happening and has happened, and it's the way that the charging infrastructure has developed. Right now, or before this product, interoperability was not being applied to destination charging. So where we are now in the industry, very early industry, is that these proprietary charging networks are all over the place. So if you go onto Tesla, well, you can see the Tesla charging station. If you go onto ChargePoint, you can see the ChargePoint charging stations. What we're saying is that if you want to find a charging station, sure, you can go onto all these proprietary networks, but it needs to be on the website where it actually is located, right? Because, if you're trying to attract people to your property, right, attract people to your website, you want to make sure that it works. You want to make sure that, the people aren't showing up to use it and, whatever. Maybe, you lock it up at night so people can't access it. So the accessibility is something that's really important. So Tesla has this destination charging program. You go to their website, they have a link, there's thousands of them all over the place. And what's driving this new wave of chargers being put out there is that this year Tesla has pre-sold 400,000 of these Model S's. And they're going to have a 300-mile range. And what's happening is the EV driving community is kind of becoming like its own little social community network. So you're getting these meetups that are happening at the charging locations so that they can have a meeting during the 4 hours that their car is charging, and they're looking for the places to do it. So these are pictures. Sorry for the. Let me turn the lights. Turn that earlier. But these are the installs that have happened in a couple different places in the Appalachian Mountains. Usually, what happens is you'll have a single pedestal with the Tesla charger on one side, and then you'll have the Clipper Creek charger on the other side. With the new unit that we have here, that Tesla charger is, we're connecting that into the building automation system, which makes it smart, the Clipper Creek charger we're connecting to the building automation system. So we're really showing up the Tesla because Tesla doesn't have that capability yet. So what we're doing is we're playing nice. So we're providing the capability of connecting some of the information of Tesla into the Clipper Creek unit so that we can read it online. That way we can at least know the status of it. But what we can do is actually, with the Clipper Creek, we can actually write back to it and tell the Clipper Creek unit, only allow charging at like 25%, or don't allow it right now. We could put keypad, we can lock it up, turn it on and off with the key. We can do card swipes and a lot of different things when you start putting the smarts onto it. So we've smoked. We've made this Tesla charger obsolete at this point. So if you know Elon, let him know that, and we'll fix it for him. So a lot of people ask, well, how much does it cost? Right now the estimate is like it costs 2 cents per mile to operate the Tesla Model S, 2 cents per minute to provide charging and keep the owner and passengers of the $100,000 car on your property. So, it costs the building owner 2 cents a minute to get this valuable customer on your property. So that's the reason that the colleges, Brevard College did it. And they said, yeah, we want the owner of that Tesla vehicle, which is, retired person bringing their grandparents, to look at the college. We want them on our campus for 4 hours. So there's a lot more you can do, the whole thing kind of gets in. It's a lot more than just interoperability for charging stations. You can do get into solar. Really, like I said, at any point in the building is accessible to us. With the new Model 3s that are coming out, they have this extra large display that's going on inside of it. And it was at Drupalcamp last year, New Orleans, whenever that was. That was last year, right? Dries was talking about how Drupal is not only used for Tesla.com, but it's actually on the monitor here. So it's in the app. The app is a Drupal app. And that's in the Model 3 that's coming out. So the cars themselves are becoming smarter and smarter, right? But like we said before, well, it's really not the car that's smart. It's making the people operate the car a lot smarter. So in terms of efficiency, everybody knows that it works. When you use web services, we can show people that it works. We just don't tell them that it works. We don't need to just show them pictures of the solar panels. A lot of people are putting up solar panels that aren't connected to anything. But or they, the electric companies are putting up solar panel and putting the electricity in the grid and then charging the customer even more money for the electricity because it's solar. Anyways, there's considerable momentum behind driving the web services initiative. And that's a quote from one of the blogs by Dries. So in terms of what this looks like in the building automation system. So this is we call the BACnet Advanced Operator Workstation. So this component, right, is connected up to like a application, right? It's running on a server somewhere. And this is what that application looks like. This is, you can create these graphics to be, customized however you want it. In the case of the Brevard College demo that we did, we actually, we didn't have this device available to us. So we actually hooked up this type of monitoring, which is an energy metering system, very sensitive, costs about $1,000. And I have the screen up here because you have to understand that there's different protocols that are available. So if you were to order these and wanting to connect it into the BACnet system, you would have to specify the BACnet protocol. They also have Modbus, Pulse, and LAN. So those are also protocols that are available to us in this device, in our new device. So it's not just BACnet. It has all of the protocols that are used in commercial or industrial facilities. So what we're trying to do is get all the building systems to use the BACnet protocol. The electrical metering was $1,122. So we went out trying to sell the solution, and people were saying, "Wow, you mean the the pedestal that this thing is on costs about $1,200, right? The metering was about the same price, but the charger unit itself is about $600. So it's very price sensitive when we start putting the bits and pieces together, and you're talking about installing equipment in existing facilities. If you can get it in as part of the construction budget, those are really fat. But then once the building is operating, the operational budgets tend to fall off, and the IT budget starts to increase as people are using computers, right? So what we did is we cracked this open once we realized these type of costs, and we cut that in half by developing this kind of device. And we can actually do more with the lower cost than what we could by just monitoring. Because what we can do now is control it. So we went in, kind of redesigned the whole infrastructure so that we can monitor and control it in a very efficient way. So our solution is BACnet International Test. It meets the standard. There's this BTL testing standard. It's a global testing for the global B-AWS standard. It's called the BACnet Testing Lab. So our device is BTL certified, which is a very important thing. Usually, most good architects and engineers, when they're specifying projects, they'll require these types of devices to be BTL listed. So when we're doing the electrical metering solution for the $1,200, these are all the different, this is a full data set of the types of points that are available to us. We can get like 50 discrete values out of the metering side of things. But it's an overkill for an application like this. This is the type of thing you would put, and probably exist, on the main power coming into this building. So we said, okay, well, we really don't need to know what the frequency is. We don't need to know what the power factor is. We don't need three-phase, because these are all single-phase, pieces of equipment. So, so we were able to substantially cut the cost. So at this point, we have this great product that's very competitive in the marketplace, and it's very accessible in terms of being able to customize it. So this is a screen of the graphical programming language that we use inside of the building automation system. And this is something that as Drupal developers, we just need to know exists. We can talk to the building automation guys and say, hey, well, we would like it to perform this way. We would like for you guys to give us the value like this. And they can shape it and send it out as a web service any way that we want it. So we've already taken care of that in this device. So in this device, I showed you the screen a little bit earlier of the graphic files. And this is the programming that goes on inside of this. So this is now plug and play when we put it into the building automation system. So that's all taken care of. We don't, as Drupal developers, we don't need to worry about that. So when we go into Drupal, all we need to do, this is actually the SSS module. So I have two modules out there in Drupal 7. One's the BACnet module and one's the SSS module. They're both essentially the exact same module, but the BACnet module is made to actually connect to the system. The SSS module pretends that it's connected. So what we do is we provide the SSS module with a sample set of data so that you can actually play with it, create your websites and everything without having to have the live connection. Both exactly the same, but anyways, what we're asking for is the title. We need to know the URL where the BACnet server is located. The building automation guys will give you a login name and a password. And that's, they can give you, it's just like Drupal, any kind of role, any type of, read-only access, full access kind of thing. But they have a special admin access just for SOAP, just for web services, just for REST. So it's an easy thing for them to give, but most of those guys just don't even know it exists because they don't use it. And then when you get, you get access into the building automation system, then what you need to know is what point are you going after. So in our case, what we're going after is the status of the charging station. So the way you get that is actually really easy. But let me just go back and way back. The way you get that last value, you're literally just hover over, like if we want the electric meter, you right-click on it, it'll give you a little pop-up, and it'll give you that address. So it's literally just cut and paste. Right? So that's how easy it is to program it in. Right? So that's the value that would go in here. You cut it from, you just copy it from the building automation system, you paste it in there. And then in the case of Brevard College, we just whipped up a screen just to kind of show people what it looks like. Because nobody has really thought about displaying this stuff to the public yet. And I'm not a front-end guy. Right? So what we did is, this is a view. We've got different blocks on here. We're just giving the charging unit details, right? Picture of the site. These are some of the sponsors that we have through this BACnet with Drupal. They're just kind of helping us out with this stuff. And then the real-time points that we're bringing in this case is the status. And what we're doing is we're just saying that 0 means not in use, 1 means that it is in use. Right? So at this point, when we took that picture, Tesla was on, and Clipper Creek was on. Right? So if you go to the destination charging website for Tesla, they'll list on there the link to Brevard College. Right? If you click on that link, my contention is that it should take you to this page.
Where does it take you?
Right now, it just kind of takes you to an error page because the Brevard College admin kind of changed that address, and nobody's really paying attention to it.
You put in a redirect. It's so simple.
Yeah.
I know. So, whoever, is the person that, created the account with Tesla that went and put in the link, they're the ones that need to go and do it.
Yeah.
But Brevard College was saying, oh, Drupal is so complex.
Oh my gosh.
And they have students that know how to work with WordPress. So they're thinking they can save a lot of money by hiring a student to do WordPress.
Oh my goodness.
So we're in this big thing, like, you guys just, you're in disarray. So anyways, they lost their content manager that has been, managing the Drupal site. And, the vice president is the guy that's making the decision. And this is typical. I'm not picking on Brevard College. So you have these C-level people making the decisions about the technology, and the information that they're getting, they don't have time to research on the internet and stuff. The information they're getting is from the sales guys that are knocking on the door and taking them out to dinner. Right? So that's the reason that I'm going around and talking to the Drupal guys, because there is a real opportunity to expand Drupal into this realm of energy management. But we have to sell it. We can't wait for the institutions to come to us saying, hey, we've got, we want to install a Drupal-enabled charging station. They don't know the advantages of that. They don't even know what Drupal is. Go ahead.
Just so you know, I spoke to you about this last night, but most of FSU just switched to Drupal for their provided website for departments.
That's great.
And it's amazing. It's replacing pretty much all websites on campus. They're trying to get everyone either, especially off of WordPress, because our intrusion protection system has been non-existent lately, so those WordPress sites are just dying. and it's been bad. But
FSU
there's
would be a
somewhere
good
to
one.
push, and that's a good one.
Yeah,
They
so,
want to be energy efficient too.
so somebody needs to tell them about this,
Yeah.
right? So, where am I here? So, I have brochures. Let me get the brochures out here. You can download them from the website. I'm knocking on doors every day. Whenever I go to a hotel and stay in the hotel, then, I'm dropping these brochures everywhere. So I'll just, give them to you, since there's only 4 of you. But,
I know a lot of people that work in infrastructure.
oh yeah, well, I'll give you a
Yeah, so you give me a couple.
But, if you need more, I'd be glad to send you more. So, people keep asking me, well, what are you selling? Well, I can sell the whole thing. I can prime the whole job, or I can prime any part of it. Well, if they don't have any money, well, tell them about the funding opportunities, right? But, colleges have a ton of money. Everybody has a ton of money to build new buildings. Everybody's building new buildings all the time. Trump loves real estate, right? So it doesn't matter what the politics are at the moment. I had a discussion with some people last night about, well, the whole coal lobby has been very effective, and now it's all about coal. Well, it's a good thing we have coal at this point, or the prospect of coal, because as these charging stations get put in place and more people start driving cars, we need the electricity to power the cars. I don't care where the electricity comes from. It could be solar, it could be wind, but the bottom line is we just plain need more electricity. So, in my opinion, if it wasn't, as things develop, like right now, the experts in Florida are saying that half of the cars in Florida are going to be all electric in the next 10 years. Right? So where do we install these charging stations? Well, you just look to where the cars are being parked out there now. Because those spots are going to be the coveted spots for the people coming to the building.
I'm about to buy an electric car in the next 6 months. It's plug-in hybrid.
Yeah. I mean, I want to. It's just a matter of finding, they're not available. The new Teslas are coming out in 4 months now. But you can, if you look around, you can find the Nissan Leaf, used Nissan Leaf for $8,000. It's still warranted for an additional 70,000 miles, right? So, maintenance is rotating the tires. The only required maintenance for that first 100,000 miles is rotating the tires every 5,000 miles. There's no lube changes, there's no, you don't have to fill it up with gas. So the value proposition is really there. 2 days ago I spoke with the police department in Orlando, and they had purchased over 150 new police cars that are going to be electric, that are electric. So we just sold them 2 of these. So they're going to install it into their existing building automation system, which is that system. And they're going to tie it into that proprietary green screen that I showed you. Because they've never heard about Drupal before. Right, so this is the city of Orlando. You know what I mean? So the list goes on. If you want a list of the people to go out and market it to, go to the Tesla website, right? And just go to the destination charging and find the location where all of this stuff is already installed. Go to that website. Is it Drupal? Is it not? If it's not, then go and tell them about this stuff. There's all kinds.
So the Tesla chargers and this are installed simultaneously. They're there, right?
Absolutely.
So it's not just a Tesla charger anymore. It's Tesla and this.
Right, and if this charger is already installed someplace, we can do an upgrade to it. Usually what we do is we just take it off and we'll send it to the manufacturer. And right now they're doing those upgrades for free. We'll send it into Clipper Creek. The retail price is about $200 to get the upgrade. And usually what they do is you send them in the old one, they'll just send you a new one, and then just, refurbish it, and they'll start selling the refurbished ones. But then, the trick is getting the comm line out to it, right? Getting this out to wherever it's installed. If this is installed on the side of the building, it's no problem. It's easy to run comm, if it's installed in the parking lot, it might not be a problem. Because a lot of times where you have charging stations, you also have like lighting. And you have other electrical type of devices that are out there, for various other purposes. So there might be a comm line already going out there. So if there's a conduit, we could always just pull another thing. But that's not something we need to worry about as Drupal developers. Because we already have the electricians, the building owners already have contracts with the electricians. They already had contracts with the building automation people. So we can go in and sell the whole job, any one of us, and prime it, working, and if you have a customer, you want to prime the whole thing, call me up and I'll give you prices for any one of these pieces that you need to add to. If you don't, if you can't get through to me, just go on Amazon. And you can get really close to, pricing, because all of this stuff is sold on Amazon. What you can't buy is this EMS card, right? And that's the, for the total cost of the project, if you start looking at, all of these different components and where is most of the money being spent, most of the money is being spent on the Drupal side of the equation. Like if Target came to me and said we wanted to create a charging network, for all of our stores, I would say, great, we'll give you this device for free. Because our profit would be in doing that master website.
That's cool.
So anyways, it's as we move into Drupal 8, this is what decoupled Drupal is all about, because then all of a sudden we have access to the data, however you want to do it. There's a lot of different ways we cache the data. You can pull the data directly from web control or directly from the building automation system into a custom app. You can cache it up on the Drupal site and distribute it through the apps that are going in, programmed to come into Drupal. So this is this Smart Service System bundle, right? We have a lot of different ways of getting the data into Drupal. That module there is this one here, but it's just an example of the many different types of modules that we have at our disposal. So we can meet any building application out there. That's just, I like to show that so that you guys are aware of it. So you kind of see how the whole picture comes together. Most of the time, the building automation guy is like a sub to sub. Whoever has the project, right? So as we're out there selling these projects, what they want to fund are large projects to get a lot of infrastructure out there, right? So I just sold one the other day. The project name is Charging for Churches, right? It's in the Deerfield Beach. Steeple on the Beach in Deerfield Beach is going to put in 4 of these. We're putting together a project right now for 4 of them. But we don't want to submit a project for $35,000 for funding. That's a lot of work. So we're getting 26 churches that are part of that presbytery, as part of the denomination, 26 churches to participate in it. So we'll have, we'll be able to ask for like $150,000 or something. And that's just a sampling of the churches in that denomination. So the funding people are going to see, what's the potential for getting others installed that we don't have to pay for? Well, we light up 26 churches up and down the south coast of Florida. Then, California is going to say, there's even more of these churches in California. They're going to say, well, we want them to, we want them to. So that's, as we put together the projects, they want to see, well, what's the potential for growth? So, this is what, with the company I work for, we have a very, very small Drupal shop, right? If we were to land, $1 million project doing this stuff, we would be overwhelmed. And that's just one project out of the $2 billion funding that's available, like right now. And we just have too much work going on to even be able to pursue that type of thing in any kind of, logical way. So when I think about, the smart service system, I always think about it in terms of these triangles. And what we do at Function One is we do this thing called Web Experience Management. We do it, proprietary, open. We think about big data, and then we think about the operational intelligence. And right now, these are three separate areas in our company. And the only crossover we have is when we literally go to company meetings and we have conversations. We don't get on a project where we're doing big data and web experience management. So this new model lets us redefine the way that we do business and offer this as a product we can sell. And the product is this smart service system that is based on Drupal, is based on BACnet, and our operational intelligence, which is based on Splunk. And we just became partners for a non-proprietary solution to Splunk as well. I think that's all I have for you. Oh, so if you go to my user profile, I have one issue highlighted that I'm trying to get resolved. So if you can help me do that, all you need to do is go in and say, give me a comment that says +1 for energy, right? And that'll help us to get Drupal specified as an energy conservation measure. Any questions?
1,000.
I mean, it's cool stuff. All the pieces are in place. At this point, we just need help in pulling it all together. You know what I mean? We need to get it installed. It's all based on technology that works, modules that work. The trick is in applying it to that specific instance to satisfy the customer. And it's just like any website. Drupal is made in a kind of a generic way that everybody can download and customize it. So the solution needs to be customized to fit what the customer wants, right? So we already have this part worked out, right? And if you bring me a job, that requires volume pricing, we'll give you volume pricing. If you want to step on commissions, we'll step on the commissions. You know what I mean? So, we want it to be profitable for everybody. Right now, this total solution goes, and people are asking me for prices, just ballpark price. So I say $3,500, right? So let me show you a competitor's website that I just saw last Friday. And it's easy to remember. It's Brickell Energy, Brickell Energy. And I just met the guy last Friday and a week ago Friday, and it was at a regional planning commission put on by Florida Power and Light, and they're all trying to figure out who's the best person to oversee the funds that are going to be distributed for. And his emphasis was on everybody needs to get their plans together now, because once the program is announced, it's too late. There's just not going to be time to develop new projects once the program's announced, because they're wanting to have the large portion of it spent by 2017. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just, to spend this money. There's a lot of other car manufacturers that are in trouble right now, same way that VW is, and there's going to be fines imposed on them too. But this stuff is the sort of thing that's affordable to the businesses.
But now that does not have Drupal in it, correct?
This does not have Drupal. I showed you there's a screen that shows the proprietary one.
Okay.
So they have this afloat program. And what this can do, this does more than this particular charger does. Right, so this is a proprietary system that ties into, you get an app and it ties you into their system. It's based on wireless modems. There's network fees that apply to it. So you can just look at the cost. Sorry for, maybe I can blow this up. You can look at the cost here. Dual port charging station is $7,500. The network service plan for 5 years is $2,200. Right? This doesn't apply to us because we're tying it in the building automation system, which is much more reliable than the Wi-Fi kind of access that are in these other ones. There's a warranty, so they're charging you $2,500, almost $2,600 for a 5-year warranty. All this equipment already comes with a 5-year warranty that you get for free. Then there's the installation, right? So the installation is the installation. Sorry. So if you count that into the cost, then sure, our every installation is different, but the installation is about the same. Ours is easier to install because our contractors are already in place. With this system, because it's a proprietary system, their person has to come out and do the install. Right? We already have contractors in place that will install this for the customer. Right? Like the Orlando Police Department, is already using this system here. They already have contracts with the electrical contractors. So it's just a matter of getting the electrical contractor the shop drawings, the submittals, so he knows exactly what to install. So I've got 3 weeks to work that out for him, which is plenty of time. So the total investment is, this $20,000. Then there's whatever this is, the AFB refueling tax credit, that would still apply to the install here. So the total net investment using this system is $15,000. And I'm sure that we can do it for half that. $3,500 times 2 would be, $7,000. And it's less than half. If you installed it on the wall, on the side of the building, we could probably get it in for about $1,500. So, there's a lot of, things at play. But they have this, a float agreement, right? So the float agreement is kind of like a rental agreement. And they, they kind of amortize a lot of the cost to the owner and stuff. But, their cost, fee is $8,000 for that. But
is that a yearly rental? That 8,000?
You have to read the fine print. I assume it's 5 years.
Oh, 5 years.
That's what this other one is, a 5-year plan.
Okay.
So, with ours, we can still beat that $8,000 price, assuming $3,500. But that's not a 5-year price. That's a, that's a lifetime price. This is $8,000 every 5 years, and this is this is the charge point solution. That's the most popular one out there. And they do have a tracker unit. You'll see it all over the place. It has a card swipe on it. We're going to be adding card swipe to this unit for the police department. But it'll be, actually, we're doing a badge system, so it'll actually read the city badge and allow access to the unit, by the existing infrastructure. With ChargePoint, you would have to, you'd have to go onto their site and apply for a card. You'd have to give them the credit card number and everything, and they would give you their own card to card swipe. So our system is a lot more customizable. So, so the way to, if you really wanted to get into it and start selling this stuff, the way to do it is start calling on architects and engineers. They'll love it. And get them to start specifying Drupal as part of the construction project. You know what I mean? You get, if you get into that stage, then you have that contract forever. All right, so any other questions? I'm good for the rest of the day. I mean, I can talk all day.
I sent messages to people that I know. I'm waiting.
I got a friend that's in commercial real estate, and he owns 7 Wawas in Orlando. The irony of bringing this to a gas station, yes, I'm aware of that. How would I approach this conversation with you?
Well, gas stations are already trembling. You know, they believe the figures that half of the cars are going to be all electric in 5 to 10 years. You know, and they're trying to figure it out. So the solution, I guess, you know, if you're thinking about electric vehicles under the same mindset as a gas vehicle, you know, electric vehicles don't need to go to gas stations at all, period. Right? And if you plan it into your routine, right, plug out, charge at night, go to work, well, maybe you need a charge to get home, so you plug in at work. So I don't have to add, you know, 15, 20 minutes into my day to go out of the way to get fueled up. So, you know, where the gas stations are making their money is by selling all their other things. You know, they don't necessarily make a lot of money off the gas unless they, you know, Wawa can control the price of gas in a particular location. That might not apply to them. But, you know, the average charge, which is what we're after, that market, is 4 hours. So what Wawa needs to do is start, you know, upgrade the quality of food that they're selling. You know, upgrade the quality of their coffee so that people want to go and hang out for an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They need to make these, you know, they need to make this paradigm shift, you know, that's not so much focused on
The quick in and out.
profit,
Right.
but customer satisfaction.
So we're Starbucks in this. How come they haven't grabbed this? Starbucks
They're
is
still,
perfect.
I know.
It's like, good
I mean-
nice coffee, you sit down with your laptop and let it charge. My gosh.
I know, I'm preaching to the, you know.
Okay, so Wawa was a bad example.
Well, it's not a bad example because,
He owns businesses all over the state.
Well, I think about
well,
like
what
this.
the Wawas of the world, what they'll do is they'll install the level 3 chargers. And that's like a half-hour charge.
Okay.
And we could do the same thing with the level 3 charger, but the value proposition isn't as strong for the level 3 chargers. And the level 3 chargers, you know, they're very, very costly to install. You know, I won't take the time to go back to that site, but instead of a $15,000 install, you're looking at like a $50,000 install per outlet. And, you know, it requires, you know, the faster charge just requires bigger wires, you know, all the way from the, you know, the telephone pole all the way in. You know, and the electric company might not be able to support a 20-car refueling station at any location. That just wasn't planned as part of the infrastructure when that whole, you know, community was planned.
So have you seen anything where they're sort of revolutionizing the gas station and making a solar charging station where all of the outlets are there particularly for solar chargers? Because that's got to happen. That's got to
Well,
happen.
in Western North Carolina, I belong to the Blue Ridge EV Club,
Okay.
very active Facebook page. And one of the members there has developed a canopy, the solar canopy, to, you know, to provide comfort to the charging stations that he's provided. And he's patented it and all this stuff, but the technology that he's using, he's just going nuts because he's using the charge points, chargers, and, you know, just the network fees alone are more than the amount of electricity that he's generating. You know what I mean? So, you know, he got a lot of, government funding to get started up and stuff. He's got a nice product, it's just that it's not sustainable. So he's looking at this solution, you know, because all of a sudden he can do the same thing, only tie it into the building. And if he's closer to the building, then that electricity can go back into the building and be of extra value. Right now it's out in the, you know, most of his installs are like in the corner of a parking lot, and there's nothing to do with the electricity when it's being generated. So there's a lot of work to be done by the industry in order to effectively gather and store the electricity through things like solar. But from an energy efficiency standpoint, Drupal can help a lot. You know what I mean? Because if you save a building, the 6 to 8% just by making the people smarter, well, that's 6% of energy savings and electricity savings that can then go to provide free charging, to the charging station, free service to the people, and that would be a great research study for somebody. If people are made aware that this electricity that they're getting for free from their employer actually has a cost to it, then they would be much more appreciative of it, right? A lot more smarter. This is electricity, right? It's So anyways, Tesla, I'm all for supporting Tesla. They have it right. They got the storage. The wall packs picture that we showed. A car is like 5 or 6, 7 times the storage capacity of those wall packs. So the whole idea of generating electricity on your rooftop and storing it in the car, most people have 2 cars, right? One's just extra. You store it in the one that's sitting there so you can use it at night. What I'm working on with my son is doing it for the boat that we have. You know what I mean? Because I could put I can get the used batteries from the car, put it in the boat, put a nice double jet engine on the John boat. And, we'd be able to take it into places that we can't go with the electric motors. A lot of fisheries are protected. You're not allowed petroleum products out there. But anyways, I'd much rather have a boat in my garage than a wall pack on the wall. Anyways, there's a lot of room for innovation at this point. But we decided to start at the charger because that's kind of the first thing in the food chain. Yeah. And even if you have the solar on the roof, you want to get it into the car, it has to go through the charger. So the whole thing about data protocols, communication protocols is really strong, because Tesla has this communication protocol in it. It is a IoT network of devices. They have a computer sitting on the edge of their network that's defined within the walls of their car. They have many sensors in their car. So this EVSE protocol that happens between the connector and the car. Right? The connector and the car. This is the car. This is the connector. This is EVSE that manages that communication between the two. You can look that up. It's an ANSI standard. But we're actually pulling a lot of the information from the car into our building automation system. So there's like unique identifiers in all the cars. Right? So, it's a lot smarter than just BACnet. There's a lot of, inherent smartness in the charger itself. And even the dumb chargers still have this, EVSE protocol in it because that's what manages the safety of the charging experience. So you can be standing there and pouring down rain and not get electrocuted. There's actually pins that have to be pushed inside of this that, tell the charger that it's okay to provide electricity. Right? And we're actually controlling that. We can control that through Drupal by this read-writing of web services. Right? So it's all, it took a while to work out, like 4 months. All right, what else do you want to hear?
Need some lunch.
Yeah, anyway, you want.
Yeah, so this is the brochure here that's, go to my DBT 102 user profile. First link, you can download this. And then just start sending it out to all your customers, giving it, keep a copy with you, hand it out to people. Yeah. Write your name all over it, big black marker or whatever.
Thank you. That's cool.
Yeah,